Mm.
We're live.
Hey, what's up, everybody? How you guys doing? It's your brother Matt Gill and the one and only phenomenal Kathy Kidd. Kathy, how you doing?
Thank you for having me, Matt. I'm so excited to be here.
So listen, you guys, I wanted to share with you guys, many of you may or may not have seen the post that I did this morning. You guys, normally mornings with Matt is done in my morning, but this morning I had to reschedule to later on, and Kathy and I had an appointment to discuss some business stuff, and we were just having this delicious conversation. And I asked her, I said, can I ask a favor? Can we go live on this? Because I feel that there's a value in the conversation. I know it's something that many of us are dealing with as we're trying to move through this pandemic, move through quarantine, move through this experience. And Kathy so graciously said yes. And we were talking about grief and kind of just this experience that of where we are in grief. And, you know, there are different stages of grief. And I truly believe that for some of us, I know I was sharing with Kathy that on Sunday, I had my moment of breakdown. I'm not one to do, to have anxiety attacks very often or panic attacks, but I believe that's what I experienced on Sunday. And it was the lack of feeling of control that I have in everything that's going on and in many areas of my life right now because of quarantine and what's happening with coronavirus. And so we were talking about the levels of grief. And so I asked Kathy, like, what level, like, where are you at grief? And Kathy, if you can give us, you know, for those of you guys that aren't familiar, that there are different stages of the grief process. And so Kathy, if you can give us what are those stages, and then we'll open up a dialogue of like where we are.
Absolutely. So like for me, I kind of saw the people around me, like it kind of seems like we're all going through some sort of one of the stages of grief. And typically there are 5, some people say 7, but there's really 5 solid core stages of grief. And everybody moves through them differently. You can do them in whatever order, in whatever way, however long it takes, but tends to be that we move through these 5 stages, and I'm seeing it around me and I'm seeing it in myself. And it just makes sense that we're grieving, like we're grieving the loss of the life that we had in 2019 and trying to figure out like, what is this? And then there's some people who are really, 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 truly in grief inside of this because like people have lost loved ones. Right. But I'll share the 5 stages with you really quick here. So they are denial, like, oh no, it's not happening. It's just a conspiracy. It's denial. Right. No, not me. I don't need a mask. I'm good. No, it's just right. A flu. It's just a little flu. I think I'll have the spring break, right? No, denial, anger. Yeah. I was in anger yesterday. I was all kinds of cussing out Corona. She was on my hit list. I'll tell you what. Bargaining. Like, okay, if I do this, then can that happen? Like, we're kind of in that right now as a country. If we lock down, if we stay home, will this pass? We're bargaining. Right. You know, I kind of feel that as a whole. The other is depression. Anyone else been having a little depression? Like, my symptoms of depression have been like, I sit on the couch in the morning with my cup of coffee and the news is on, and next thing I know it's noon and I'm like, why am I still in my pajamas and I've gotten nothing done? That is a symptom of depression. Right. I recognize it. It scares me. I don't like it. It is one of the stages of grief.
Right.
It is absolutely normal.
I want to come back to that too.
Absolutely. And then the final one is acceptance, which I feel like I'm on the verge of right now. I'm like, okay, like the new norm is going to be different. How do I make the life I want in whatever this is going to be?
Right.
I'm kind of like on the verge of that, right? I'm leaving anger and going into, okay, Rona, you win, but how do I win more?
Right. That's an interesting way to look at it, that we can both win. like
Yeah.
whatever this is, whatever this experience is. And I truly might, and I'll share with you what my shift was in what this moment and what this experience is that it's really truly elevating our humanity. Like
Mm,
it's the time for reset. It's a time to start over. It's a time to, okay, we've been saying that we didn't like this, we didn't like that, our calendars were too busy, we had way too much to do, we were so disconnected, that now is the time for us to reset.
mm,
And that's the part of acceptance of moving forward. And but I want to go back to the different stages and kind of expressing that you can be at whatever stage you are right now. Some people are at acceptance already, like they're full on, boom, I got it. Other people are just now starting to get into the anger phase. They've been like, I've been really good. Okay, 2 weeks in, I'm in quarantine, I'm fine. But right now, the sound of the heater turning on gets on my nerves. The sound of somebody blinking in the room gets on my nerves. Like the sound of my plant growing right now is getting on my nerves. Like there's so much there's different levels that we're at. I want to say hello to Stephanie who's joining. She said Stephanie, Marilyn, Saroni, Pam, Betty, Trevor. Thank you guys for being here. Urbano, Trisha. Like where you are right now is okay. And one of the things that my cousin and I were actually talking about grief last night, and she made a really good point that in most situations, when we grieve, we know what we're grieving. Like, for example, when somebody dies or somebody passes away in transition, we know, okay, great, not great. We know, okay, this person has transitioned. They're not going to be in my life anymore. I'm not going to be able to see them. And so we have a direction of where we're going and how to move forward. Mm. And the grieving that we're in, because there's so much unknown at this time, we don't know how to grieve or how to move forward. We don't know if, okay, I'm just grieving right now for the next week, and then the following week, I'll be able to begin to rebuild or begin to reconnect the way that I somehow used to. Like, we don't know what that's going to look like. We don't know what time, how long it's going to take. We don't know how much society is. We don't know if our travel is going to be able to, we can get on the road again. We don't know if we're going to be able to do the type of events. Many of us in our world, we're event driven. We're like, we thrive on that connection, that interperson connection. And so as we grieve, we don't know how we're grieving forward. And that's what makes it really difficult. On top of, we've never been in a situation like this globally. Like, it's not just Americans. It's not just California. It's not just Florida. It's the world.
Yeah.
And when you begin to, and this is where I was, as I began to look at that and take all of it on, it became overwhelming for me. And as somebody who's somewhat of an empath, like I took on all of the emotions of the world on top of being human, being myself, and just dealing with my own emotions.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Can I share with you my aha that made me dip this week?
Yeah.
Mine was Monday. And it was this report that said, and it was from a doctor that said, this is a smart disease. It's mutating. And now we see that it can lay dormant and then be reactivated in a person, and they have not any symptoms. We're not sure if they can be contagious. So we're still learning a lot about it. And it just, in hearing that, it felt like I was watching a sci-fi movie with an alien invasion. Right. This virus wants to live, and it wants to find new hosts, and it wants to breed and make more. And I'm watching an alien movie. It is from our norm. Inside my county, it's required that we wear a face covering if we leave our house, or $1,000 fine.
Wow.
So it has become the norm that we walk around wearing a face mask. Like, that's something out of a sci-fi movie that we wouldn't have thought was the norm back in January. Can you imagine if you see people walking around public wearing masks? So for me, it was that. Like for everybody, it's something different. And
Mhm.
for me, it was that. And I just kind of like went, wow, like this is going to change the way we do things. Like we're going to get a handle on it. Like polio, like the bubonic plague, like Spanish influenza. We've had other things before that like took out huge populations, and we as humans, especially we as Americans, like we
Right.
will fight, we will find a way, we will persevere, we will come out the other side better, but it's
Right.
different. And
Yeah.
you're absolutely right. What is it going to be? When is it going to be? How is it going to be? I don't know. I had a 20-city tour planned this year. 20 cities in 2020. I was finally going to travel international to Dubai.
Right. I remember that. Yeah.
No, not
It's just been
anymore.
put on pause right now. Put on pause.
So what's it gonna be? I don't know. I already missed Speaking Right, you know? Lisa was gonna have the event coming up in May 1st, not Speaking Right anymore, but still,
Right.
it's that event, my tribe, my people. I miss it already, you know?
And for me, it was I realized that I don't have control, and I don't want to
Mm,
say that I'm a control freak. I live in fluid and flexibility, but there's still a plan. And I want to say, Julie says great topic. Marilyn says yes, yes. Thank you guys for joining in when you're popping in and for commenting. You guys can also put in the chat what are some of the things that you're realizing, like if you felt the anxiety, if you felt the depression, like what is it that you've been feeling in there, to let us know that we're not alone. And obviously I think we know that we're all in this together, but um, for me it was the lack of control, the lack of, I'm helpless right now in guiding, I'm the fixer. I like to go in, I see a problem, I'm like, okay, what can we do right now? Like, how do I fix this? How do I take away the pain? How do I change this? What mindset can I shift? And the thing was, is as for a moment I was having difficulty shifting my own mindset. This is when I realized and was reminded how grateful I was for my Bring Me Back crew, the people that I know that I can call on,
yeah.
and knowing that I could call on you if I needed to and be like, Kathy, I need help. I was very blessed to have some energy healers that I was able to like say, like, help. I'm home, I'm safe, but I just need somebody to ground me again, to bring me back into to feel like I'm part inside of my body. But I was just, I couldn't control what was happening in the world. I couldn't control how other people were feeling. I couldn't control how to shift them. Saroni says, I'm feeling that limiting my intake of info has helped me, but it doesn't serve me to know how many have been infected or how many people are impacted. Just the knowledge of it causes more anxiety. And I think that's the other thing, is that there is so much information that's being sent, so many people talking about it, and there are those that are talking about it in the doomsday version of it, like, and there's a reality of being educated, but also keeping your mindset of, which direction am I going, where am I at right now? And that's why this conversation, Kathy, when we were talking about it, I was like, oh, we need to go live with this. Like, other people need to hear it, because I know I needed to hear this, that this is a grieving process that we're going through.
So for the information part of it, some people, like, you're absolutely right. Like, you've got the message, you're clear, you're not in denial, you're like, okay, I need to stay at home, I need to shelter at home, I need to distance myself from people, not do anything unnecessary, I'm no longer in denial. So maybe you don't need to hear the numbers. That's okay. There are people who are in the stage of denial. They need to hear the numbers. They need to hear the facts and information. What I need to hear right now is that, so for me, I'm in California. California has the largest economy in the United States and the fifth largest economy in the world. And we have been able to procure 5 million N95 masks for our healthcare workers. We have been able to procure enough ventilators that we were able to donate 500 to New York. Like, that's important to me as facts and information to hear right now. So whatever it is that you need to hear, somebody else needs to hear the numbers. Maybe you need to hear the good stuff. And maybe you're okay getting it secondhand from someone else. I have friends that are like that. So
Yeah.
the information, it really does affect the stages of grief and should be, taken in based on where you are in that
Well,
process.
and this is also a really great time to evaluate who you're listening to.
Yes.
Like, what are you, and the question is, what are you feeding yourself right now?
Yes.
Like, what news source are you doing? Like, I've changed the news. I don't listen. I watch the news just real quick to get some nuggets. Okay, where are we? I choose to watch not the news on YouTube, youtube.com/Matt Gill,
The
not the news.
show.
Just telling you, good luck. Little plug.
Yes, yes.
But I choose to watch not the news because it distracts me for a moment. It allows me just to connect with something fun. It's impactful. But like I know that there are certain people that are very set in their ways that I can't be around right now because of whatever. Like it just doesn't feed me well.
Yeah.
My body, the nutrients of their posts, the nutrients of what they're feeding the world doesn't increase me. It doesn't elevate me. It brings me down. And so I chose to put them on mute for 30 days. Let me go through and let me change that. There have been some people that I've just completely released from my friend group. We're complete right now. Like really taking a look at who are you being fed? What information? What are you listening to? Are you, during when I'm doing work, I'm putting on some gospel music so that I'm being fed positivity and joy and I'm feeling the love. I'm doing connections like this where it brings me life and we can laugh and we can have a drink. And I'm drinking my water right now because this is healthier. But like, what is it? What are you being fed right now? Take
More
inventory of it.
important than ever. More important than ever right now because we're at the cusp of something new. So you can create something new. That's like the beauty in it is that because we don't know what's on the other side, we can choose what to create.
Right.
And so you're absolutely right. Like, what are you feeding yourself? What is your source? What things are you allowing in your life? It's like I always say about social media, it's what you make it. People
Right.
complain about Facebook. Oh, it's just cat videos and people complaining about politics. No, that's what you made your social media because my Facebook feed looks different than Matt's. And my Facebook feed looks different than my daughter's or my next door neighbor's. It's what you make it. So you can choose what you're putting into yourself. That's a really great point. I love that you're listening to gospel music while you're building because
Yeah.
your faith and flow, which I wanted to circle back around to this too. Faith and flow. I love that that's what you were already doing. I mean, you
Yeah.
started talking about it last year. You put it into action, like in powerful action, the beginning of this year. Faith and flow, faith and flow. It's a part of who you are and what you do.
Yeah.
But when you were talking about control, I saw something for you. Can I share?
Yeah. Go for it.
So your gifting absolutely has always been that I've seen and what you do is like you're absolutely right. Whatever little thing comes up, you solve. That kind of is the faith and flow. Like you can go into an event and you plan that like the event is going to go like this. Never does. Like these
Right.
little things pop up all the time. And the flow part of it is that when something pops up, you handle it.
Right.
Faith part of it is that no matter what pops up, it's going to be handled. Like you just trust, you just have faith that on the other side it's going to be right. And the flow part of it is this is popping up, this is how I'm going to handle it. This pops up, this is how I'm going to handle it. Well, Corona popped up. How are you going to handle that, Matt? How are you
Right.
going to handle that?
Faith and flow, baby. Faith and flow.
So a part of your faith and flow is that handling it. Like you are that fixer, you are that go-to guy. You've always been that way for all of us. Like
Man.
you're that go-to guy. And right now you can't be the go-to guy because like nobody knows the best of the best of the best of us. We don't know.
Well, and I think
Ultimate.
that's part of what happened on Sunday was reminding me to surrender. Like we are all like part of faith is moving without knowing what's in front of you. Part of faith is taking the leap and trusting that you may not see the bottom, but you know you're going to fly. Faith requires you to do things even when it doesn't make sense. Faith requires you to not ask so many questions, but to just be to like, okay, what's my next step? And that's about what I've been doing almost every single day is what's my next step? Right. What do I need to do right now? What's the one thing? And then boom, okay, I got that one done. Great. Now what's my next thing? What's my next thing? And then turning around and looking back at my day and being like, wow, I got 5 of the things done that I needed to get done. Like what a shift that was. But faith requires you to be in movement and flow. When you talk about the flow, it's sometimes your flow is fast. It's moving. You're like a rushing river going down and you're like whoosh, crashing around. But then other times there's this calm, there's this slow, and the water just sits still for a moment. And the beautiful thing that happens when the water sits still is the ground absorbs the nutrients of the water. The trees that are growing on the side, the roots that are inside of the water, they absorb that nutrient and they begin to grow. And that's, I think, where we are right now. We've been in the hustle and bustle of moving so fast, and the universe, God, whatever you want to call it, has just said, hold up. I'm going to press pause for a moment. Absorb the nutrients, press the reset, go back to what feels good. Like, and as we move forward through this, whatever the timeline is, right now is the time to begin to create, what do we want our new to be? What do we want the possibility? What do we want our calendars to look like? With our calendars wiped out, like, do we want to go through and some of the things that we're doing now of being closer with our family and actually sitting down, eating with our families, having conversations with our families? Do we want to continue that when we start back up again? Like, make that part of your new normal. It really got me into a place of gratitude. You know, yesterday when I went for the walk, listening to the birds, I kept asking myself, has that been there before? Like, I saw houses and buildings and people that I'm like, I don't know if I've ever paid attention to you before. But now I'm much more present. And that's the gift. That's the present, is the presence.
Share with everybody what you're telling me about your family. I love this so much. And I'm guessing that other people have had this similar kind of thing as well.
Yeah. So my grandmother just celebrated her 92nd birthday in March, the beginning of March, and we were going to be taking her out, and obviously we couldn't, and so we decided to do a virtual birthday party for her. And so we got onto Zoom, and we all got to connect, and I got to see cousins that I haven't seen in a couple years and laugh with them and see their faces and hear their voices. And so now every Sunday at 6:00, we get together on Zoom as a family. Everybody knows it's just an open Zoom session, and we connect for an hour and just laugh and pour into each other. And it's our way of connecting. Like, we're closer now, I think, as a family than we were, we'll say BC, before Corona. BC, like, we're more connected now. And I love it. Like, I look forward to those connections. I look forward to hearing how they're doing. And 2 of my cousins were on this last call, and they're first responders. One's a paramedic and one works is a nurse in a hospital. And, you know, we just wanted to check in on them, and both of them got emotional and didn't want to talk about it because they're so intense right now. And so we just were able to put our hands out forward to them, and we said a prayer for them. And one of my cousin, who's a paramedic, sent me a text message afterwards and said, thank you, I needed that. Like, that's what we need to connect this way. Like, this is our opportunity to connect deeper than we've ever connected before.
Yes. You know, it's I love that story, and I love that right there, especially when you were talking about being able to see cousins you haven't seen in a long time, and being able to connect regularly and pour into the loved ones that needed it. You know, I get a lot of pushback about social media. I know you do too. And the TED Talk that I've been working on is about there's all these studies about how it shows that we're more lonely than ever. I believe we're more connected than ever. I have family members who aren't on Facebook and I have no idea what's going on with them. I have friends that I've never met that I know when their kids graduate. I contact them because I saw them, they have a funeral. I see that they're having a good day. I promote their business thing that's going, like, I know them. They're my friends. I'm connected to them. And family members who aren't in social media, I'm not. And this has forced some people who have been resistant to technology or social media to connect like this. And I think in some ways it brings us closer than ever before.
Yeah. Yeah. We truly, in a world where we felt connected because of social media, it required us to disconnect physically to see how disconnected we truly were. Like, I see that now.
Yeah, because we're all so busy. Like, yeah, we're connected, but it's like, hi.
Right. It's like at MTS or even in some of our events where we do eye contact. We talk about how we're so used to being in our lives that it's uncomfortable when somebody looks us in the eye.
Yeah.
You know, and fortunately right now we're looking through a camera, you know, a little lens in there, so we still don't have to do that eye contact. But I know I'm going to commit to be more present with the people once I can get out of that door right there.
Yes.
And really talk. Like, I want, when I'm talking to you, I want to be here. Yes. I want us to be connected.
Yes.
And that's one of the many, many gifts that I know that I'm realizing. The other thing that I wanted to bring in when you talk about faith and flow is I believe that when God plants a seed, and like I said, I'm not here to impose my beliefs, but I'm going to share what's true for me. When God plants a seed and he says, get to work, I would have never known that the conversation of faith and flow was going to be so relevant today. Yeah. And even as I was like, wait, faith and flow, what is this? What's it going to be about? You know, what am I going to do with it? Even today, to this day, I'm still like, it's there. You can go to www.faithandflow.com, the word faithandflow.com. And it's the journey of me putting where I am. Let's just walk this journey together. I never realized how important it was going to be in today's world, and how much it was going to play a role.
Well, and you know how it is, like, for all of us, I know this rings true for you, that it's easy to see somebody else's gifting. It's easy to see somebody else's path. It's easy to see somebody else's potential. But when we're in it ourselves, we don't see it as well. So when you talk about faith and flow, I see it for you. Like, it's so clear. And like, Corona is the ultimate, It is what you do in Speaking Right on a massive global scale. Like, nobody could have predicted Corona.
Right. And don't blame me for Corona. Corona was not me and my brother.
Just like most of the other stuff he handles.
Right.
The thing is that when something pops up for us, how do you have faith and flow? Like, I want to plug into that. I love what you do, Matt. I don't have that. That's not my, like, I aspire for that because I am a control freak. I'm like, I want to know what's going to happen when so that I can plan for it. And there isn't an answer. So I have to learn how to live in faith and flow. So please teach me.
You're like, here we go. Well,
I need that.
The beautiful thing is that the more that you allow yourself to live in faith, to live, like, every single day, every moment is a choice. I'm choosing right now to live in faith. I'm choosing this opportunity to move forward in faith, not knowing what's going to happen, where I'm going to go. And I'm allowing myself to operate in flow. The benefit and the gift is that you begin to create freedom in your life. That freedom of not having to worry, the freedom of not having to stress out, the freedom to just be present. Like, there's a true.
So that is really, truly acceptance. When we talk about the 5 stages, that is, and excuse my nails, but as we all know, quarantine nails, lashes, and hair about to get ugly up in here. Right. Girls, I know you know what I'm talking about. But back to the 5.
Right.
Acceptance.
Yeah.
That's the ultimate in acceptance, right? Like, I would be curious. I'm wondering, I want to ask everybody who's watching either live or on the replay, I would love to hear from you. Where are you today? So again, those 5 are denial, and in no particular order, because like we could be on a roller coaster of revisiting some of these. Hello. Denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. Like, where are you today? I want to know. And I know that Matt and I both want to support you. I know that other people, because Matt attracts the people who we are, which is a bunch of unicorns who love to support and love on each other. So we want to love on each other. We want to know where everybody's at. We want to check in with each other. I want to know, where are you in those 5 things? Would love
And
to
tag
know.
Kathy Kidd, tag me, Matt Gill, let us know, like leave a comment in here. But we like this is truly the time for us to show up in a deeper way than any of us have. And I know you're here to support people. You're here to, help people catch the breath. You're definitely here to help people get their message out into the world, which is part of where I'm at. Lily right now says that she's in acceptance. Saroni says, I'm odd, but acceptance from the very beginning. So she had acceptance from the beginning. It's beautiful. Tangerine says, bouncing between anger and depression, which is, and that's the roller coaster that you were talking about. Like, just
reach out for help if you need it. Don't be afraid to say something. Yana, you are not alone.
Exactly. Or you want to just, I need help. Like just, that's where I was on Sunday. Right. SOS.
Yes. Yeah.
And so, Kathy, I thank you for your time. I thank you for those of you guys that are joining and watching either live or the replay. Share this if you know somebody that may just need to hear that there are different stages, and it's okay to go from one to another. And Kamiko says that I've been going mostly through sadness with a couple fits of anger. Today, feeling neutral, but staying away from the news, though, because it shoots me into anger really quick. Perfect. Know your triggers.
Self-care. Self-care is ultimate. If self-care means you need the information to be able to act, then do that. If self-care means you need to not have information in order to take care of yourself, it means that.
Yeah.
Self-care is paramount right now.
And go outside and ground yourself. That was the biggest thing that I got was take your shoes off and go put your feet in the sand or the ground or the grass and really just ground with nature and nurture. And I didn't go as far as like yelling into the ground to release, because at the moment I was just trying to catch my breath. But I definitely see value in something like that. Trisha says, thank you both. I see a bunch of you guys are still jumping on and hearts and likes. I really, as Kathy, as we were talking, like I said, it just felt the value of this conversation, I know, for me. And I appreciate you saying yes to coming on, even though it was really unexpected. Neither one of us had our hair done.
No, I'm just like, no makeup or nothing. I'm just here. I got the quarantine look going on.
and I have my sweatshirt on, and then I'm in my pajama bottoms.
Yeah, that's how you do it now. Do you know that t-shirt sales and shirt sales have gone up, but not bottoms?
I believe it.
Because we're all doing video now.
I believe it. We all need to start playing, doing that game, and maybe I'll do that on Not the News. Like, are you wearing pants? Like, I've never been so bold in doing a Zoom in just my underwear because I move a lot. I just want to say thank you, Kathy, again for jumping in, and for each and every one of you guys that are watching, whether live or replay. Know that you are not alone in this journey. Know that we're in a place that none of us have been, and we don't know exactly where it's going to end up. But together we're going to get through this. Together we'll rise. Together we'll move through it. Reach out. Stay connected. Stay home. Stay healthy. Nurture yourself with healthy food. Sometimes put down the cookies. Sometimes continue to eat them. Whatever works for you. I'm your boy, Matt Gill. That's the amazing Kathy Kidd. Thank you guys for sharing this afternoon, evening, or whenever you're watching. We'll see you guys. Now I just got to figure out how to end this because I don't know how to end it. But I don't know how to end it. So y'all are going to stay here until I can figure out the end button.
There should be like an end broadcast in the lower corner or something, unless it's changed again.
Well, that screen has...
did a bunch of updates. So
maybe if I end the meeting, come back on here so we can connect, because I don't know how to do it. But bye, guys.